Hola y bienvenidos. Es Passport One Comics y yo me llamo Efraín y estamos con dos invitados especiales, Inaka y Roy Miranda. Mucho gusto para estar en mi YouTube video.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Muchas gracias
Muy
por
bien.
tenernos.
Muy bien, gracias.
Gracias.
Vamos a hablar inglés, okay? Before we start, I just want to say that I'm a big fan of your book, We Live. I've read it more than once, and I finished reading the Free Comic Book Day book last week too. I read that one too already. On Aftershock Books, in the very back of the page, it says, there's a quote that says, it's a good quote. It says, don't settle for the same old trade up. I think that perfectly is great for your book. You know, I traded up. It's an awesome read.
Well, thank you. I mean, the truth is we feel the same about that. It's like, I think we both feel, Roy and myself, that when you, right now, when telling a story, there's so much background in the audience has seen so much products in genres that you already know a lot of what's going to happen. You know that the audience has like arrived to a place where they know the structure. So I feel that it's a moment that has to be shaken a little bit. So
Yes.
in order for the audience to be able to really live the story you're telling, you know.
Yeah, when I was a child growing up, I would just mostly read superhero books, you know, like Marvel, DC, and all that. But as I've grown older, my tastes have changed, and I look for other types of books to read. And I am so glad that I found We Live. You know, that one. And I interviewed Tony Fleece from Stray Dogs a couple of months ago. Those types of books just grabbed my attention. And the minute I seen it for pre-orders, I seen the artwork, the covers, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a good book. I just had a feeling it was going to be a good book, so I bought it ahead of time, obviously. So for those who have not read the book, what can you tell us about We Live, the story?
Well, We Live, I arrived to a place where I know I have to separate, like first set the world, and then what's the story about. Like the background of the story is we're in the year 2084, and let's say humanity is in the edge of extinction, because there's been a series of catastrophes, and that has brought the human population to a 10%. And just when society is starting to rebuild in 9 megalopolis that they have built in the planet, they receive a message from outer space that warns them that they have only 3 years of life in Earth, that there's going to be a new wave of attack from nature, and they're going to be extinct. So they offered them an opportunity to save 5,000 children and to restart the species. And they sent bracelets to pods with a bracelet inside and randomly throughout the planet. And there's a message that also tells them to, those bracelets are for children. They have to put it on and go to one of the beacons, that each beacon is situated inside each megalopolis. So that's the situation where we start the story. And the story is about 2 siblings, Tala, the older sister, and Ototo, her little brother. that where Ototo has the bracelet. So it's the journey of Tala bringing Ototo to to save him, his brother, to the beacon, so he can be saved, knowing that she's not going to make it.
Yeah. What was your inspiration for writing this book?
There was a lot. I think the moment in the human moment that we started at is the human conflict, the refugee conflict. That was the real background, like where we felt that we had a human, a potent human story there to be told, and we extrapolated that and to the whole Earth. What about if the whole human species needed to, to flee from where they at, where their homes, basically.
Sure. When did you guys decide to combine to work together on this book?
Roy, you want to continue so I don't speak all the time?
No sé, mejor que...
Yeah, I'll translate him. Just...
lo vas a tener que sintetizar, pero bueno, durante muchos años sí que hablábamos nos inventábamos historias o hablamos de historias que crear hasta un viaje que hicimos juntos donde empezamos a hablar de esos temas, de los refugiados, de los extraterrestres, o sea, conceptos que para nosotros eran interesantes, y ahí surgió un poco el qué pasaría si los que necesitan refugio fuésemos toda la raza humana, y a partir de ahí empezamos a crear la historia. Fue a través de ese viaje donde, después de mucho hablar de otras cosas, ahí digamos que fue el punto de partida serio de querer hacer algo juntos.
Okay, now I'll translate.
Okay.
He's saying that we really started talking about just stories, imagining stories a long time ago, like years from now. And it had become a normal thing for us every time we got together to just see what stories we came up with. And we live really solidified when we did a vacation trip together, a road trip. And that's when we, start just focused on the story of the refugee and the end of the world, and the human extinction and aliens. We just started putting all those ingredients together. And I remember we were in the car at that moment, and we said, we have a great story here. We should focus on this one. So that was like maybe 4 years ago, or...
Oh, wow.
About
5.
Yeah. We've been planning this for a long time.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad it finally came out. So the main characters, Tala, Hototo, and Humbo, how did you come up with their names and their personalities?
Well, the funny thing is, because of Totoro, everybody would think that Hototo is like from Japanese or something like that. But Tala and Hototo are both from Native American names. And Hototo means, I think that it was the spirit that can sing. And Tala means it was something like wolf stalker. So it made sense to us, because Hototo is like the innocence, and it's a spirit that sings. And Tala is the stalker. I mean, she's the one, the wolf that's protecting him.
Sure.
So, and then Humbo, it was just we wanted a funny name for him because of his personality. So that was the why of those 3 names.
Yeah. Who picked the music? I thought that was a nice touch, by the way. I put my phone up to the little barcode, whatever it is, and it played music. I'm, well, that is so awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the musicians are Roy's friends. Roy, he's a hip hop singer, and he's been in the music industry here in Spain for a lot. I don't know, 20 years maybe.
Wow.
No, more or less.
Sí.
So he has the contacts, the artists, the musicians, I don't know, distributors. So it all started because we had a chat where, you know, we created, once we had the, you know, we knew that the comic was coming out. We played with the idea of doing like a 40 seconds intro from using the cover like a animation, and putting some music there to set the tone for the series, like just at least to give a tone, even if 40 seconds for the reader to feel something, what we try to, you know, the ingredient of music that we wanted them to hear in the whole series, let's say. And once we had that, we loved it. And I remember after that, I remember Roy calling me because that was, you know, the intro was done by Gonzo Lorente,
Oh, okay.
and he's a guitarist. And then he called me because another friend of his, El Hombre Viento, had done a song that he thought it would be perfect also for the comic. And he said, why don't we do a soundtrack for the comic? And the funny thing, I was, you know, the whole week before he called, I was thinking, oh man, it would be so cool to do a soundtrack. So it was like we both came together to the same conclusion. And I said, perfect, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And so he called them, and, you know, and put it on the table, and they both loved the idea. So that's how it started.
When I started reading the first book, right when Hototo met Taito, the little girl,
Yeah, title.
and then what happened to her, I went, oh boy, this is getting serious. You know, to me, that was a turning point of the whole story. I knew what was happening. You know, the world was, you know, basically dying and all these creatures. But that little girl, and I just went, oh boy, this is a serious book. You know?
Yeah, because one thing that we had very clear from the start, we wanted to be do a very eclectic work, where it would be almost like difficult to expect what you're getting into. So on one side you have the cartoony art, the colorful art, and that would, you know, ease you into the story and make you love the characters too, because I think that also makes you more you know, love more the characters. And then combine that with a very serious story, where you didn't escape from the human tragedies that we experience every day in Earth. So we didn't want to sugarcoat anything.
Sure. The if I'm pronouncing their name right, the Acceptists, like those monks, they are crazy. I mean, how did you come up with their idea? Are they going to be any more? Well, I don't know how much you can tell me about what's coming up, but is this the end of them, or are they going to be more? We're going to see them more? Or, you're probably not going to be able to tell me, but I had to ask.
Let's say it would be interesting to know who they are.
Yeah.
And where they come from and why they do that and everything.
Yeah.
We came with the idea because that's also, I mean, every idea that you see in the book, it exists in real life, I think. And we just wanted, you know, these crazy people to just do crazy things that people do. I mean, they psychopath.
Yeah.
And the name, it was, I think, perfect for them. It was very basic because those are very basic people, and they just accept. They say you have to accept what's coming. So it was just something that would, you know, it was one of the dangers, because, you know, when I say it was inspiring the refugee conflict, the story, it's when you really, you know, think about what the refugee, the journey that they have to make, whether they come from Africa to Europe, that they have to, you know, cross the whole continent of Africa, and then they have to cross the Mediterranean Sea, and only a few people make it, and the mobs that are behind those things, and or you see the Syria conflict. they all have really serious, um, you know, enemies
Sure.
in their path. To whether it's the human enemy or nature, and then they get drowned, or I mean, so the acceptance was like something that we had to put there as like because as more as you go more inside, you know, the story, and the closest you get to the megalopolis, the enemies start to like shy away, or they stop being from nature, you know, and you can start feeling that the enemy is a human.
Sure.
It's not an animal anymore. So that's part of why the accept is, you know, because if you see, the first enemy is a beast.
Mhm.
The second enemy is a mix between nature and human, you know, the Dr. Seuss. And then you just see the plain human as their real enemy. So that's why the accepts had to exist in number 4.
Yeah. Speaking of the beast, how did you guys come up with the different animals, like a combination? The Alice looked part gorilla, and I couldn't tell what the rest was. You know?
He has like the gentle fairy wings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that would make her more like a mother figure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, you know, when you draw, you just it's difficult to you can't like explain why you do things, because it's just inspiration in the moment. You have the references, and you try this, it works, you try that. So that's how they all came together. And then we put the names depending on what the beast was.
Towards the end of the book, to me, the other bad guys were, I guess they were doctors, you know, the ones who were cutting off the arms of the children. Were they like government funded? It almost seemed like a lot of money. I mean, a lot of rich people paid them to take it off and give it to their own kids.
Yeah, we didn't define that, right?
No, adelante.
We didn't define that, but it's clear that it's a corruption in the system, where people in power can pay and you know, beat the bracelets to the rich. I mean, it's just the, you know, the top of the pyramid that can do those things because they have the contacts, and they can, you know, pay them the military or the peacekeepers, that's what they're called, and the doctors, and, you know, create that monster.
Yeah. Besides the story and your artwork, the colorist, I forgot her name. I mean, I'm sorry, what was her name?
Eva de la Cruz.
Eva de la Cruz, just the colors just jumped out at me. And that's another thing that drew me towards the book. I just want to say, Eva, if you ever see this video, thank you.
She will.
And
yeah, we're very lucky also to have her. I mean, me, myself, I've been working with her since I started working in comics. I mean, I know her since the university in fine arts. We did fine arts together. And I think it was from the first year of fine arts that we met, we started, you know, skimming comics. So
when I read the free comic book, this one, the 4 characters, are they going to be, is their story going to continue at all, or is this just like a one shot and that's it for them?
And right now it's a one shot, but Roy and I have spoken about their story, and we have a story to tell for them. But I don't know when or if we'll be able to do it, because we have the main series that's taking all of our time right now. And they already exist in our heads, and they have a story. So we would like to tell their story, yes.
When I read the book, I finished it, and then I went, wait a minute, I've seen this character before. It was the old gentleman at the very end that helped him out. He was in the book. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this guy before. Hang on. So I had to go back and read number 1 again. And 2, I'm going, okay, it's been about 3 or 4 months since I finished reading We Live. And then when I read the free comic book there, I went, okay, this person looks familiar. Hang on for a second. I like the way you did that. You know, it's like one big umbrella. They're all under one world, so to speak.
Yes, yes, and also I think we owed him because we dedicate the comic to him.
Okay.
And the final page it says to Simon, because we owed him something because of what happened to him.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened to him in book number 2. I went, wait, what? I was like, hang on, let me read this again. So I thought he would have a bigger story or plot line, you know, maybe, you know, but I know you guys can't speak much about We Live, the next chapter, but it's coming out in the winter time, correct?
Yeah, right now it's because we have something very special happening with that. So it's not clear yet what the month that we're going to launch it, but it's going to be near that. That's for sure. But
the characters, how do you pronounce their name? I guess Hototo is a Paladian.
Palladians, Palladians, or I don't know.
Palladians.
I mean, I'm sure you know better how do you pronounce that in English. I think it's Palladians or Paladians. I don't know which one.
Yeah, it took me. I kept on reading it over and over again.
Yeah. Well, both are correct.
Yeah.
The Paladins is comes from a let me think if I say this correctly. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, because I read it a long time ago. In the Greek mythology, I think it was in Troy.
Okay.
And there was a big statue that fell from the skies that supposedly was sent by gods. By the gods, and the story says, the legend says that as long as that statue is in the city, it will protect it. So that's why we thought Palladians is the perfect name for them.
I know you can't tell me what's going to happen, but in the book We Live, these Palladians, they were supposed to go up into space, correct?
No.
Oh, okay. I must have read it wrong then.
They're there to protect Earth.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Maybe because of the page you saw, that's the dome, that the shield that protects the city.
Okay.
Maybe mistaken for the atmosphere. No.
Yeah.
They're in Earth.
So Roy, I want to ask you a quick question. Tu música, ¿qué tipo de música es?
La que hago yo.
Sí. And your brother can translate.
My music
Uh-huh.
is hip hop.
Okay.
I only write rhythms.
Uh-huh.
And y la rapeo.
Yeah. Do you have is there somewhere where we can look at your music? If you can give me a link to it so I can put it in the description después.
Sí, no problem. Yes.
Okay. I'll send you a message and you can just give me a link so anybody wants to look at it. I'd be interested in listening to your music.
Okay.
Okay.
No
Gracias.
problem.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it, guys. I want to ask you, I wish you could tell me more about the next chapter, but I know you can't.
No, we can only say that it's going to be big. I mean,
yeah.
And we're excited. I mean, I'm not trying to sell the story, but we're really excited for what's coming. It's going to be, I mean, just what's going to happen in issue 1. It's going to be really big. So I'm just saying, what can I say? But I think I don't want to say anything because it's
yeah, I know. I understand.
Creo que algo que podemos decir es que es muy probable que nadie se espere cómo va a empezar.
Yeah.
Es muy difícil que intuyan por dónde vamos a empezar.
Yeah, it's very probable that nobody will be able to guess how this new chapter is going to start. Yeah, I think it's going to be really unexpected.
I think I'm going to buy more than one book, just to let you know. Well, once again, I want to say thank you to the Miranda Brothers. Muchas gracias para estar en mi canal de YouTube.
No, thank
you.
Okay.
We're really thankful.
Okay, adios.
Adios.
Okay.